Vale. Sí. Sí. Ara em sembla que no ocupen la meitat de l'espai. No, podíem fer 49, no hi ha problema. Vale. Sí. Sí, vale. No, però van a parlar... Sí. Digo.
El moderador es el alto.
Sí. Espera. Sí. Redes, vale. Sí, per aquest motiu creiem. Creiem, no creiem? Vale. Va, ok. Sí. Sí, vaja. Ok. S'ha de ser una intervenció. Sí, vale. Estaven al cos del correu, no? Sí, és el que estava fent ara. Que és un Google que et demana, que posa governant TJ, des de l'espai Torre Llussana, sí. Aquest l'acaba de canviar, i el del panoràmic, el text del panoràmic el deixem així?
Sí, per això és un plano general.
Vale. Sí, també el tinc aquí en el... És el que vam fer abans de... Ah, no, poseu un Google també. Ah, no, és que està posat al... En el que m'has passat sí que surt el Google, del... Sí, és el del govern de TJ. Ara busco el que vam fer. No, el passat. Això és... No era... Vale.
Aquestes coses són grans.
Ok. Vale. Perfecte. Molt bé. Correcte. Demà més i més intens. Vinga, que vagi molt bé. Adéu. La centronomia de la selecció.
Sí.
Buona tarda, buenas tardes, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to you all, beloved archaeologists from around the world. We are so happy that you chose Barcelona to host your 24th annual meeting of the European Association of Archaeologists. What an impressive setting, don't you think? I must confess that I don't know right now if I should continue presenting or if I should say a benediction over you. So please forgive me for being a bit overwhelmed by this beauty. Now, we weren't quite sure where to hold this opening. We thought maybe of Las Drassanas, our medieval shipyard. We thought of Gaudi's world-renowned Sagrada Familia Church, or the amazing medieval Generalitat building, seat of the Catalan government, or maybe even the Gothic Metropolitan Cathedral Basilica of Barcelona, which is right nearby. Well, we were in a hurry, so we just threw something together, and here we are at the Basilica Santa Maria del Mar. Not bad, huh? Now, all joking aside, as you can see, Barcelona and Catalonia are full of remarkable historic and archaeological sites to be seen and enjoyed, from Roman ruins to monumental churches. And that legacy here and around the world is thanks to you, your work, and the work of those that have preceded you. What would this world be like if every ancient building was considered just simply old stones and rubble to be removed to make way for the newer, flashier constructions? So allow me to thank you for what your profession has done for our civilization. You have given us a deeper understanding of our past and, of course, valuable insights into our future. Now, I do have one request. Please refrain from digging. I know you have the impulse. So, a bit about this church. Santa Maria del Mar is from the 14th century. It was built between 1329 and 1389, a very brief period when we compare it to other churches and cathedrals that took over a century to build. An important contribution to the building of this basilica came from a group called the Bastaixos, or the carriers of the port. Being a poor area at the time, the locals could not contribute with financial gifts and offerings. Instead, they contributed with what they had, their physical strength. Hundreds of men carried the large stones for the building to the building site after finishing their own work, day after day, year after year. The Bastaixos are depicted on the door of the main entrance of the church. For that reason, Santa Maria del Mar was considered the poor man's church when compared to the nearby Cathedral of Barcelona that was built thanks to the financial support of the wealthy Barcelonians of the time. But enough history from a not very knowledgeable layman. I would now like to give the floor to some of the authorities and special individuals that are here with us today. First of all, representing the University of Barcelona, please welcome EAA Research Professor, Madam Margarita Díaz Andreu.
Dear colleagues, friends, and delegates, dear authorities, dear all, it is our pleasure to welcome you to the opening ceremony of the 24th edition of the annual meeting of the European Association of Archaeologists. My name is Margarita Díaz Andreu, and I am the chair of the local organizing committee, together with my colleagues, Professors Sandra Monton and Raquel Piqué. This ceremony marks the opening of the 24th annual EAA meeting. It could have been number 25, because as 25 years ago, the previous group of people met and convened in Ljubljana to decide on the organization of the EAA. Following that memorable gathering, the first ever annual meeting took place in Spain, in Santiago de Compostela, in 1995. The then diligent organizer in Santiago, Felipe Criado, is today our president. It was in that year that I joined the association. Since then, the EAA has met in many countries of Europe, and this year we are back on the Iberian Peninsula, following in the footsteps of Santiago and Lisbon. Next year, we will be in Bern, followed by Budapest and Kiel. In this year's logo, you will see 3 women. No, they are not us. They are not the local organizers. They represent women who are much, much older. They are women from the prehistoric period. Yes, there were women in the past, as they are in the present. In this edition of the EAA annual meeting, we have made an effort to move closer to gender equality by, for example, acknowledging in the keynote lectures women's role in academia, and by adding a safer space policy in the program. We hope that this quest for gender parity will continue in future meetings. Our motto, Reflecting Futures, indicates the importance of today's discussions for the future of archaeology. Beyond our discipline, archaeology can also help society as a whole. It is thanks to archaeology and to history that the past of the future can be better explained. 2018 is the European Year of Heritage. The overall objective of the year is to encourage sharing and appreciation of Europe's cultural heritage, to raise awareness of our common history and values, and to reinforce a sense of belonging in a common Europe, in the common European space. This is important in the light of the challenges that Europe is facing as a whole and also as individual countries. Migrants today represent an important percentage of Europe's population. In Catalonia, migrants make up almost 14% of the population. It is the archaeologist's ethical role to make archaeology relevant to them, as our discipline is not only important for those citizens who were born here, but also for all those who live in this territory. Archaeology is important because it allows people to know about the history of the land in which they live, to connect to the monuments of the past, and to experience and feel a part of the place. By not creating ethnic exclusion, but rather by creating a sense of place, archaeology can nurture well-being in today's globalized world. It is important, therefore, that we connect with people, regardless of their backgrounds, and make them feel part of history, part of the land in which they live. Without further ado, in the name of the local organizing committee, we welcome you again to Barcelona. We hope you enjoy the sessions, presentations, and keynote lectures that discuss the past but reflect the the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. And now please welcome the Dean of the Antoni Gaudí Faculty of History, Archaeology and Christian Arts, Mr. David Abadías.
Good afternoon and welcome. First of all, I would like you to excuse my poor pronunciation. As you can see, I will speak slowly. I try my best. We are inside a temple built in the 14th century, between 3029 and 3084, on a previous church, which according on the sources was known as Santa Maria del Mar, and possibly had been preceded by a small chapel under the invocation of Santa Maria de las Arenas. In the chapel, tradition indicates that the martyr Santa Eulalia was buried in the 4th century. Her remains were found and transferred to the cathedral by Bishop Frodoy in the 9th century. This area was outside the city walls, on the seafront, which was physically closer than in present. The neighborhood was populated by sea workers, dome loaders, fishermen, ship owners, and traders. With the commercial and economic impulse of the city during the 14th century, this part of the city, known as Vilanova del Mar, experienced a strong growth in many ways, including architecturally. And as the palaces and buildings of the surroundings were built and improved, the desire to expand and improve the existing temple also arose. Craftsmen, merchants, and people of the town, with the support of the religious authorities, presented a project to the king, who granted the permits to carry out the new construction. From the mountain of Montjuic, often by sea, let's not forget that the church was near the sea, they brought in the stones with which walls, columns, buttresses, bell towers were built. The whole neighborhood committed itself. Merchants and wealthy men with resources provided the necessary money. People from the town offered themselves as workforce. It was therefore a job done collectively. It contrasts with the construction of the new Gothic Cathedral of Barcelona, which was being done at the same time. While the cathedral was being done by royalty, high nobility, and high clergy, Santa Maria del Mar, which always was the people's church, was being built by merchants and did all the manual work. We must note that the group of the so-called bastaicios, downloaders, were who carry out the toughest jobs. They have been honored in form of figures in several parts of the temple, such as the main door and in some capitals. There are two commemorative plaques, one in Latin and the other in Catalan, on the facade that leads to Santa Maria Street, on both sides on the end of the entrance, which indicates the date of the beginning of the construction of the temple, March 25, 1329. The new church was consecrated by Bishop Pere Planella on August 15, 1384. It was therefore built in a record time of almost half a century. Allow me to cite some facts to emphasize from later years. In 1428, an earthquake collapsed the Rosette, causing 30 deaths. It was reconstructed in 1459. Between the years 1544 and 1546, during his stay in Barcelona, St. Ignatius of Loyola begged for charity in one of the chapels of the temple. On July 31, 2016, the Company of Jesus remodeled and inaugurated this chapel, installing a statue of the Saint dressed as a pilgrim asking for alms. On August 1st, 1708, during the War of Succession, Archduke Charles married Elizabeth Christina of Brunswick in discharge. In 1923, he received the title of Basilica from the Pope Pius XI. In 1931, it was declared a historic artistic monument. Unfortunately, it did not prevent the temple being assaulted and burned in 1936. In this fire, which lasted several days, all the interior decoration and archive were lost. In 1967, its restoration began, building a new presbytery. Nevertheless, it was in the 80s and 90s that with the help of the Generalitat of Catalunya, the definite and most important restoration of the monument as we know it today was made. This temple in which we are gathered is one of the clearest and most brilliant exponents of the Catalan Gothic. The master builders were Berenguer de Montagut and Ramon Despuig. Both are considered to be the best architects of Catalan Gothic architecture, having also worked in the construction of the Seu of Manresa, la Seu de Palma de Mallorca, and the cloister of the Cathedral of Vic. The temple consists of 3 naves. Following the medieval system known as ad quadratum, the 2-side naves measure half of the height of the central one. They are separated by many pillars, with a distance of 15 meters between them, and by equaling the height of the 3 naves, an open space is created, which gives the sensation of a single space. On the sides, there are 22 chapels that fill the space between the buttresses. The 16 octagonal columns are 1.60 meters thick, and on their capitals are worked cross sections that cover the entire central nave. The length of the temple is 80 meters, 100 feet, and the width is 33 meters, including the 3 naves and side chapels. And the height of the central nave is also 33 meters. All this produces the visual impact of geometry, lightness, and grace, which is appreciated as soon as you enter the temple. The presbytery, defined by a semicircle and formed by 8 columns, is surrounded by an ambulatory or girola, with 9 radial chapels created from the prolongation of the 2 side naves. The church receives natural light from the upper windows above the terraces of the side naves, which are converted into windows in the area of the presbytery, creating the effect of a circle of light. The side windows are also lit by windows spaced between them. Some of these large windows conserve part of the original stained glass. To emphasize on a few, the Virgin with baby Jesus, St. Michael, and the Final Judgment, which have very bright colors. Many on the standard glass windows had to be restored and redone again after the Civil War, thanks to the help of private funding. If you wish and have time, I invite you to look for the emblem of the best football team in the world in one of them. They subsidized it in the late 60s and left the brand name of the club, Indataria. Finally, I want to highlight the beauty of the large rose window of the main facade dating in the mid-15th century in a Gothic flamingo style, where we find the crowning of the Virgin Mary as a central image. And we could carry on. The beauty of Santa Maria del Mar has captivated architects such as Le Corbusier and Gaudí himself, as well as artists and writers. If the Anglo-Saxon world has its novel The Pills of the Earth by Ken Follett, we have another bestseller, The Cathedral of the Sea, by Ildefonso Falcones, on television this year as a series. I'm afraid that nowadays, if you do not have a book and a TV series, you are not taken seriously. Fortunately, we have both. But most important of all, without ignoring its history or contemplating its beauty, is that Santa Maria del Mar has been and still is the cathedral of the people. Generations and generations of Barcelonins and foreigners have found here, between the warmth of its walls, the clarity of its stained glass windows, and the light of its candles, a space for prayer and recollection. Many neighbors in this neighborhood, now called La Ribera, have been baptized, married, have celebrated Sunday Mass, Christmas, Easter, and finally have also received the latest prayers on his funerals. The sound of its bells has accompanied them day by day in their lives. Santa Maria del Mar is the history of its people, their work, their dreams, and faith. Thank you very much for your patience and attention. We wish you a very good stay in our city and fruitful and interesting working days. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Abadias. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Vice Rector of the University of Barcelona, Dr. Albert Cirera.
Authorities, organizers, participants, first of all, let me excuse the rector of the University of Barcelona who couldn't attend this welcome due to a change of date of different events. In his name and in my name as Vice Rector of the University of Barcelona, let me wish to all the participants in this important conference a very warm welcome to our city and to the University of Barcelona. Let me use my first words to thank the European Association of Archaeologists and all the organizers and conveners for this effort, the time invested with enthusiasm in putting together this conference, for having chosen our university for this venue. Last but not least, I would like to thank the continued support of the government of Catalonia and the Barcelona City Hall for their presence in this opening ceremony and the support they have expressed in their addresses. Archaeology is the study of the past societies through their material remains. It searches the answer to major questions about how humans became to be what we are now, how communities developed, and how they change through the time. Professional archaeology is now 200 years old, and for many decades now, international conferences, such as this one, in which scholars discuss and exchange their views on the past, has been essential to form our view of the past. The European Association of Archaeologists had a first meeting in Ljubljana 25 years ago, and in 1995 hosts its first annual conference in Santiago de Compostela, as said before, organized by its present chairman, Professor Felipe Criado. We are proud to be able to host this important event this year in our university. The Catalan School of Archaeology, initiated by Professor Pere Bosch i Gimpera in 1916, is intimately related to our university. Professor Pere Bosch i Gimpera was, in fact, rector of the University of Barcelona in the 30s, and our university foundation carries now his name. In September 1929, Bosch i Gimpera organized the 4th International Archaeological Conference. This 24th annual meeting of the European Association of Archaeologists, with more than 3,000 participants, in fact, the most attended one since this series of meetings were established, is a witness to the fact that the seats shown by Professor Bosch i Gimpera are well rooted. The University of Barcelona, ranked as the best university in Spain, is extremely committed to the archaeological studies through its very successful degree in archaeology, and now with its new Master on Advanced Studies in Archaeology. Our departmental section of Prehistory and Archaeology ranks 33rd in the world, according to the QS World University Ranking. Several of their members have been awarded with prestigious projects and distinctions, including 2 ERC grants. The University of Barcelona is also keen on making science accessible to our citizens. Together with the Barcelona City Hall, the university has organized several activities in the program Archaeology al carrer, Archaeology in the Street. We are sure it will be very successful. This is also one of our contributions to the European Heritage Year in 2018. The new technologies that are providing a strong impulse to the humanities. This is also evidenced by the renewed interest of our young students in this field, an area that we are committed to support. In fact, University of Barcelona sees great strategic value in the studies of archaeology and fully recognizes its importance. We have given enthusiastic support to the Gantt Declaration asking for a more visible role for humanities and social sciences within the Next Horizon Europe Framework Program. We would like to add value to our successful activities in this area by supporting the creation of an university research institute that would collect all of our research in archaeology. For this, we count on the collaboration of our researchers and hope these long-debated projects sees the light soon. I would like not finish without thanking the other universities and research centers that have contributed to the success of this meeting. Thanks also due to them. In particular, I would like to mention specifically the 3 members before mentioned of the organizing committee, Margarita Díaz-Andreu from EAA and University of Barcelona, Sandra Monton Subillas, also EAA and University Pompeu Fabra, and Raquel Piqué, Universitat Autònoma de Barcelona. Together with the Scientific and Advisory Committee and the Secretariat, they have put together an extremely interesting program. We are delighted that the University of Barcelona, and more particularly the Faculty of Geography and History, acts as a venue for such an important conference. We hope you enjoy every second of it, as well as the parallel and social activities that has been prepared for you. Take for sure also some time to enjoy our university and the city. Welcome, benvinguts.
Gracias, Dr. Cirera. The floor is now for the Deputy Mayor of the Barcelona City Council, Mr. Jaume Asens.
Bona tarda, bones tardes, good afternoon, vicerector, degà, professora, consellera, membres de l'Associació Europea, amics tots de l'arqueologia, sigueu benvinguts a la nostra ciutat. És un orgull, és un plaer acollir un acte d'aquestes característiques a la nostra ciutat. Barcelona és una ciutat amb una llarga tradició, amb una llarga vocació patrimonial i arqueològica. No per casualitat, és una de les primeres ciutats a Europa en impulsar la catalogació i l'inventari del patrimoni, amb la gran obertura de la Via Laietana i l'enderroc d'una de les zones més populoses de la nostra ciutat el 1907. Era una gran artèria que travessava la ciutat, era una espècie de bulevard, com el bulevard de Haussmann de París, i allà es va produir un gran debat precisament de la relació de l'arqueologia amb la ciutat. Després, en democràcia, a l'Ajuntament es va crear el Servei d'Arqueologia, que està al Museu d'Història de la ciutat, i és des d'allà on es gestiona, on es controla, on s'organitza les grans obres urbanes, i és des d'allà on es vetlla, on es té com a funció garantir, salvaguardar aquest patrimoni de la seva destrucció, amb un equilibri que no sempre que no sempre és fàcil. Un equilibri entre, per una banda, els requeriments de transformació d'una gran ciutat, els requeriments d'una transformació d'una ciutat en termes urbanístics, econòmics, socials, i per l'altra, la conservació del patrimoni històric, allò que ens diu qui som, d'on venim i també que ens projecta en el futur. Molts cops els governants i els mercats immobiliaris veuen això de l'arqueologia com un mal de cap, com una font de problemes, d'obstacles a aquest desenvolupament de la ciutat. Però s'obliden precisament del valor simbòlic que tenen aquestes ruïnes, aquest subsol. Molts cops la ciutat es mostra més en allò que amaga que en allò que ensenya, precisament. I les ruïnes ben abocades, ben conservades, són un signe d'identitat que, incorporades al paisatge urbà, té una funció commemorativa i de memòria històrica que va molt més enllà de la simple aparença arqueològica. Són cultura i, per tant, ens defineix. És un llegat que no podem ignorar, ens interpel·la i hem de veure com hi convisquem, com hi convivim. I aquest és el gran repte del servei d'arqueologia de tota ciutat, mantenir aquest equilibri entre la recerca científica, l'ordenació territorial i la preservació del passat. Fer arqueologia no a la ciutat, sinó de la ciutat. La preposició és important, no es tracta d'excavar només, es tracta d'interactuar precisament en el conjunt on aquesta història ens parla. Es tracta de mantenir un diàleg amb aquesta biblioteca de la història. És una autèntica hemeroteca que ens diu molt de qui som. És un passat que està enterrat però que no està mort. No ens podem fundir totalment amb ell amb un acte de sentimentalisme, però tampoc podem banalitzar-lo. Hem de buscar, com deia abans, aquest equilibri per poder integrar-ho a la ciutat. Per tant, per acabar, dir-vos que és un orgull per nosaltres que hagueu escollit la nostra ciutat per fer aquesta reunió, aquest esdeveniment. I abans d'acomiadar-me, us volia dir que després els convidarem a tots a un acte, en acabar aquesta benvinguda, en un dels conjunts arquitectònics dels quals ens sentim més orgullosos, més importants d'aquesta ciutat, que és el Born. El Born, precisament, era un antic barri, el barri de la Ribera, que va ser enderrocat, que va ser bombardejat després de la resistència admirada per tants contemporanis de l'època com Voltaire, després d'una resistència dels veïns i les veïnes d'aquesta ciutat memorable. Es va construir una gran fortificació, una gran muralla, que era viscuda pels veïns d'aquesta ciutat com la seva Bastilla. I per això, al cap d'uns anys, els milicians es van organitzar i van enderrocar un altre cop la muralla. I això va significar un bombardeig d'Espartero, i al cap d'un any, un altre bombardeig, quan es van tornar a alçar els veïns d'aquesta ciutat. Per tant, és un espai, un conjunt que ens parla precisament de la capacitat de resistència d'una població, i per això té una gran simbologia per nosaltres, precisament ara que celebrarem, que commemorarem l'11 de setembre, que va ser la data d'aquella derrota, i per nosaltres aquest conjunt arquitectònic s'ha convertit en un símbol universal contra la repressió, per la pau, per la llibertat, contra la guerra. No és només un espai de veneració morta del passat mort, sinó que pretén ser un espai de memòria viva que interactua amb el barri i que ens explica la història d'aquesta ciutat des del segle XIV fins al segle XX. Per tant, crec que començar aquestes jornades fent aquesta visita en aquest espai tan carregat de simbolisme, on, com us deia, es va produir, era un dels barris més populosos i és on es va produir una major resistència, crec que té molt sentit perquè és des d'aquest espai on s'entén aquesta ciutat i aquest país. Moltes gràcies.
Gracias, señor Asens. The floor now goes to the Minister of Culture of the Government of Catalonia, Madam Laura Borràs i Castanyer.
Bona tarda. Benvolguda doctora Díaz Andreu, mossèn David Abadías, doctor Cirera, il·lustríssim senyor Jaume Asens, dear members of the European Association of Archaeologists, members of the scientific community, colleagues of the University of Barcelona and friends. Primer de tot, sigueu molt benvinguts. És per mi un honor adreçar-vos aquesta salutació en l'inici de l'edició número 24 de la vostra trobada anual, convocada enguany amb un lema tan suggeridor com és el de Reflecting Futures, perquè reflectir és també projectar, construir escenaris nous que endevino plens de reptes compartits. Us ho avançava la directora general de Patrimoni Cultural de la Generalitat del Govern de Catalunya, Elsa Ibar, en el text que forma part del llibre programa d'aquesta trobada. Aquest eslògan és un exemple clar de la conjunció entre els professionals i la ciutadania, tots conjurats a favor de la preservació del nostre patrimoni. I said my first words in Catalan, our language, given that the encoding of a language is without any doubt a main tool when it comes to articulate a society. A language is always a richness for a city, for a nation, for a country. It's a way to learn and understand a culture. And as far as we know, the cultural patrimony is not only a legacy from the past, but a resource for the future. I make mine the words of the Commissioner for the Education, Culture, Youth and Sport, Tibor Navrasic, because they exactly convey the essence of the cultural patrimony. But not only for this reason, because I'm certain that in its origins, at times vocational, other times acquired with knowledge, apprenticeships and practice, your bond to archaeology has a lot of what the Commissioner mentioned in his words. The will to understand the past, to acquire the tools that will allow us to build a better future. The dialogue between past, present, and future is today more necessary than ever. And in this context, it feels imperative to strongly bet on the study of the tangible and the less concrete cultural aspect of our past, which will allow us to answer the present questions and anticipate the future ones. I have been teaching literary theory and comparative literature at the University of Barcelona for the last 24 years before being Minister of Culture of the Government of Catalonia. And so I also work with the past, the literary past, the Western canon. And I notice that among the subjects that you will be addressing from today until next Saturday in your annual meeting, you give specific relevance to the cultural patrimony in the framework of the Declaration of the European Year of the Patrimony 2018. In this frame of reference, you will be discussing in sessions and roundtables about the policies regarding cultural patrimony in contemporary Europe. And you will be questioning the role to be played by the archaeology patrimony. You will be debating, I am certain, passionately and rigorously about subjects such as preventive conservation, illegal trafficking of antiquities, heritage legislation, archaeological tourism and sustainability, and we'll be tackling key issues like the archaeology of cultural material, the future of cities and urban landscapes, an immediate challenge, no doubt about it, and also the role of museums and archaeological patrimony in the present times and so on. The scientific debate will capture your attention and interest in the following days. It has to be like that. But if you allow me, I will ask you to take advantage of the opportunity to get close to the reality of your city hostess, Barcelona, the capital of Catalonia, our country, that has always given our identity to be welcoming, hospitable, and open to the world. Despite the socioeconomic challenges that we are all aware of, added to the unique political moment that Catalonia is experiencing, that's why I'm absolutely dressed in yellow. As you will notice that some of us, we wear a yellow ribbon to make present the absent members of our community, civil servants and innocent people that are whether in exile or in prison without a trial. That's why we are, and we have always believed in the fundamental role of understanding, of research, and that's why we are happy to support this event. We understand that research is a key step for the development of a mature society, despite the many shortages in resources, displaying long-term planning, etc. In the next days, you will be visiting emblematic sites such as this Catedral del Mar, Santa Maria del Mar. By the way, I was married here 22 years ago. Actually, next November, I hope we will make it. Also, you will be visiting the Born. Thank you. You will be also visiting the Born Cultural Center, which received a strong first push from our current president of Catalonia, who was its first director. You will be mainly meeting in the lecture rooms of the Center of Contemporary Culture of Barcelona, and I would like you to make a special mention to the closing dinner at the Reials Drassanes de Barcelona, the Royal Shipwrecks, that it's a wonderful taste of our past, archaeological past, that it is still alive in our present day. You will also have the opportunity to visit some of the most relevant museums and archaeological sites of our country, representatives of the richness of our cultural patrimony, from the prehistoric caves to the modern period, without forgetting the Iberian cultural legacy, the Greek city of Empúries, connecting to our Roman past, and a truly remarkable medieval legacy. I am certain that each site will unveil its charms to seduce you and make you feel at home. I wish you the best for this meeting. I hope that together we will successfully meet the many challenges raised by the society of the 21st century. And we will accomplish this with respect and interpretation of the past, understanding of the present, and the will to mark out a better future. Thank you very much, and a good work.
Gracias, consellera. Now is the perfect moment for perfect music for this perfect setting. We are very happy to have with us two outstanding guitarists, Amaya Miranda and Sandra Monfort, that will be performing two songs, Asturias by Isaac Albéniz and Recuerdos de la Alhambra by Francisco Tárrega. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Amaya Miranda and Sandra Monfort. Ladies and gentlemen, Sandra Monfort and Amaya Miranda. After this beautiful performance, the floor now goes to the President of the European Association of Archaeologists, Mr. Felipe Criado Boado.
Dear members, dear colleagues, dear friends, I had prepared some words that I feel very emotional, but I must say that it's a bit difficult to speak after this guitar performance, because one feels that it's not possible to speak anymore and just listening and hearing. But exactly this guitar performance actually gives the right music to the first message I want to put here, because many of us, perhaps all of us today, feel very sad. The loss of cultural memory that we have suffered from the burning of the National Museum of Rio de Janeiro is enormous. This is a shame. We have to say clearly that this is what happens when public budgets do not pay minimal attention to the obligation to preserve the common heritage of all of us. Having said that, let me come back to something that is much more closer to the moment here. Welcome, everybody, to Barcelona, to the 24th annual meeting of the EAA. Benvinguts, bienvenidos. My welcome words this year will be a bit special, you will see. I will tell later why they are special. We must start by remembering, as we ever do, those colleagues and friends who have passed away this year. Our happiness is ever mixed with sadness because we have missed some treasured members. I should mention Vito Polcaro, Ashley Holsen, Erika Engelstam, and of course, Henry Clear. Henry will be remembered as one of the founding members of the EAA and one of those that worked tirelessly during the early years for the EAA. In our hearts and minds, we carry Henry, who was being so instrumental in crafting the unique collegial character of the EAA. Especially, we must remember this when we are leading into our 25th anniversary year. These 24 years have led us here to Barcelona. The best tribute we can now pay to Henry and our other deceased colleagues is the popularity and the size of the meeting. The figures for this Barcelona annual meeting are amazing. We are here 3,000, but still, the EAA is bigger because we are 3,400. These figures are all the more significant because you all have come here in spite of all the news during the year about Barcelona and Catalonia. When many others were staying away, we all decided to come. This says a lot about EAA. It says a lot about the quality of the organization here. It is my pleasure, therefore, to take the opportunity here to thank all the organizations that have been cooperating and sponsored this annual meeting. Moltes gràcies. They have been represented here by our previous speakers, David Abadías, Albert Cirera, Jaume Sens, and Laura Borràs. We are here in the Cathedral of the People, the counterpart of the formal bourgeois Cathedral of Barcelona. This also says something about the feeling of being here, because it reminds us what Iglesia, church, in Spanish, in fact means. It means assembly of people. Actually, where we are is actually what we are. I think, in all English, let me say, a word that has a strong echoes to our archaeological practice, because thing, as you know, means also assembly of people. Being so many here this year also says a lot about the excellent job done by our local host organization. We warmly thank all of them for the tremendous job they have done side by side with the people in the supporting organization. Moltes gracias again. Being so many this year also validates the newly developed model of EAA annual meetings organization. This is the first meeting where the EAA and our secretariat have taken a central role. It has been a challenge and has been, I promise, enormous effort. The preliminary results, however, are promising. I think you know the breadth of the professional development that our secretariat has undergone, always maintaining friendliness and helpful service to members. In a very clear way, the soul of DAA is embodied in our secretariat. You may bear in mind that we had to craft clear financial priorities in order to get the best from your registration fees. We have been austere, trying to do more with less. We are delighted that the quality of the academic program is very high. With a lot of effort and a reasonable budget, let me say, we have managed to put together a complex and diverse annual meeting. It is indeed huge, and it could be a problem. It could be too complex, and perhaps there are too many sessions at the same time, and many of us will complain because we cannot be in every place we wish at once. But let me say that this is perhaps the price we must pay for being inclusive, for inclusivity, and for being a dynamic and plural organization where nobody with basic quality is left over. And this is an important thing about the EAA. There is a lot going on in the next day, and some of the events are very new for an EAA annual meeting. We have adopted, for instance, a safer space policy for the first time. We will give zero tolerance to any case of personal exclusion or aggression, with a special attention to gender and sexual harassment. Perhaps it never happens in the EAA because we never knew about that. But in any case, we must adopt this because that, once again, embed the character of the EAA. Press coverage will be pretty big. The social media, a proper social media strategy has been also established. We even have established a point for selfies, and you are all invited to take your own selfies on that particular facility. For the first time, the annual meeting exhibition is organized under the brand, under the name of the European Archaeology Fair, the EAF, Keep for the Future. This year, the fair brings 41 exhibitors, and I take this opportunity to urge you all to consider using the fair as a platform to present your projects, your work, your research, your teaching and business to the other colleagues and the public in general. As part of our desire to ensure public engagement and citizen science, as last year in the memorable Maastricht meeting, a full program of community and social activities has been scheduled under the title of Archaeology in the Street. This is also the year of the European Year of Cultural Heritage. And I think that finally we will announce a statement from the board about the European Year of Cultural Heritage and Archaeology. We are happy to welcome a special delegation of the World Bank that comes here to present their new guidelines for cultural and social risk assessment in relation to development funded by the World Bank investments. We will also hold a President Forum, as we did in Vilnius, that offers opportunity for reflection on urgent matters. This year it will be devoted to international cooperation. We are signing Memorandum of Understanding with CNA, Computer Applications in Archaeology, and the GUF, the German Society for Prehistory and Protohistory. Our intention with that is to foster a special cooperation with these entities as we already have with so many others. We will celebrate a meeting with our corporate members, and I would like to use this occasion also to welcome the Prehistoric Society, the Institute of Prehistoric and Protohistoric Archaeology in Kiel, and Salisbury Archaeology as our new corporate members. I take also this occasion to acknowledge the crucial support to the EAA over the years. But we want to go further on. We want to promote their engagement, the engagement of the corporate members in the life of the EAA. We thank also the private foundation Palarc, based here in Barcelona, for a generous donation that they have given to us this year, and that we will use to support young members of EAA. They are launching here in our annual meeting the National Archaeology and Paleontology Award regarding the best Spanish project and team. The call for the prize will quickly start after the annual meeting of the EAA. Some hours ago, we conclude our working lunch with presidents and representatives of the 21 archaeological associations presented here. Also this morning, we held a special meeting of representatives of all the EAA communities and committees with a special aim of promoting their activity and empowerment and presence in the EAA life. Next year, we will implement new initiatives that reflect our strategic development and place this within the statutes and handbooks. It will be for sure a lot of work, but no work is sufficient to respond to the enormous impetus that EAA has. This is a very special organization, I can promise, you know. You all make it special. In fact, now, I come to the most special part of my speech. Let me say, spending time and energy on archaeology may seem hopeless in present-day Europe, torn by exit and Brexit, refugee flows, and alternative paths. But the very same issues make this work more important than ever because archaeology is all about our collective paths, present and future. Dealing with archaeology can be a way to bring marginalized groups into history, and the EAA has a crucial role in this process. We must advocate for increased engagement of the EAA in issues as climate change and global change. These issues are deeply connected with questions of social justice, equality and cultural integrity in its broader sense. We must increase the participation of early career professionals into the association. We must work for connecting South and North, West and East, and also different traditions and generations of archaeologists. The current European context requires associations like ours. We are ready to reaffirm perspectives of transnational cooperation in spite of any movement that is going in Europe against that. In this historical moment, there is a need to create alliance and seek cooperation widely. Otherwise, our disciplines, our archaeology, will be condemned to irrelevance. EAA is a valuable asset in the archaeological and heritage arenas. There are several reasons for this. One is that our membership base is impressive. EAA is a place where we all come together as equals. The EAA needs people who can prepare to work, but also requires that all members can participate fully in the life of the association. We must give voice to the objectivity for the good future of the EAA and to ensure the quality and transparency for the trust of our members. But good ideas and intentions are not the only factors that determine results, people and their fortitude. What makes these last words especially is that actually they are not my words. I only made them mine. These words are caught from the election statements of this year's 9 candidates to the different positions we are voting. Better than saying anything else, they speak together about the shared soul of the EAA. In a year from now, EAA will be 20 years old. Thus, from now, the Executive Board calls all of you to use this opportunity to reflect on the future, to reflect how archaeology and EAA can be relevant and helpful. Archaeology is all about the future, because our superpower is to learn how the future came into being. So we are magic. Archaeology has got the magic to reflect about how the future came into existence, and thus has got the magic to think about the future. Because of this, archaeology has the ability to face the big issues, and this is something that is challenging all of us all the time. Yesterday was also 3 years since I was elected as your president, and today actually is the first day of my second term after having been re-elected last year in Maastricht. So today I renew my commitment to serve you all in the best way I can. 3 years ago, I finished my first letter to members asking, since archaeology is capable of searching the fall where the future, past and present futures meet, will be archaeology capable of mobilizing a transformative understanding of our societies in times as complicated as this? But this message I said, this message I wrote 3 years ago is much better said in a much more simpler, better and stronger way in this rock song that I am now presenting to you. What is exactly what is up to us to do, what we want to do to change things. Benvingut and moltes gràcies for being here.
Thank you, Mr. Criado. Now, after these informative words by Mr. Criado Boado, it is now time to recognize some outstanding achievements. So we move on now to the presentation of the European Archaeological Heritage Prize 2018. And to do the honors, I would like to invite Mr. Franco Nicolis, the chair of the European Archaeological Heritage Prize Committee, to please join me on the stage.
Dear members of the European Association of Archaeologists, dear colleagues, dear friends, authorities, it's again a great pleasure and a great honor to introduce the conferral of the European Archaeological Heritage Prize 2018. I am pleased to see how this prize is growing in stature, but in order to do so, it needs you, the members, to nominate the possible candidates for the prize. I trust that you will do so. Without further ado, this year the European Heritage Prize Committee, consisting of myself, Franco Nicolis from Italy, Nathan Schlanger from France, Marie-Louise Stig-Sorensen from the UK, Kathleen Wallach from Hungary, unanimously decided to award to individuals ex aequo. The first is Ivan Pavlou from Czech Republic. I read the motivation of the prize. Ivan Pavlou is awarded the European Archaeological Heritage Prize 2018 in recognition of his long-lasting European-wide contributions to the study of Neolithic settlements with particularly important achievements in terms of scientific methodology and heritage management. The past half-century has seen tremendous developments in the aims, methodologies, scope, and achievements of European archaeology. Professor Ivan Pavlou, from his vantage point of the very center of the continent, has been at the forefront of these developments. His contributions to the problematization and study of the Neolithic period across Europe, his prescient development and quantitative methods for the characterization and interpretation of large-scale ceramic assemblages, his commitment to long-term study and valorization of the major site complex of Belani in Bohemia, and indeed his insistence on the sharing of skills and insight, both across generations of scholarship and across national borders, especially at times of political divides and restrictions, have all contributed to the unanimous decision of the EAA Heritage Prize Committee to award the European Archaeological Heritage Prize 2018 to Ivan Pavlou. Born in 1938 in Prague, Ivan Pavlou joined the excavation team at the site of Belani in the late 1950s. The site was one of the very first systematic studies of a Neolithic settlement in Europe. Under the leadership of Bohumil Sudsky, the Belani team developed excavation methodologies for what was to become a major large-scale and long-lasting project about early farming communities in Central Europe. The several hectares excavated, including hundreds of longhouses and pits, resulted in a wealth of archaeological finds which were interpreted in relation to the cyclical or periodic settlement phases. To study the numerous small finds and especially the ceramic assemblages, Ivan Pavlou developed a uniform codification and recording system for statistical analysis, a pioneering approach to archaeological computing at a time of manual punch cards and giant cumbersome computing machines. Over the following decades, and notwithstanding the difficulties generated by the Iron Curtain, Ivan Pavlou and his colleagues developed a coherent, multifaceted archaeological perspective that was to have lasting repercussions in several European countries. This was the case in France, where the example of Belani crucially influenced the multidisciplinary professionalization of prehistoric studies, and also in the Netherlands, Limburg, and in Germany, Rhineland. Moreover, from the 1990s onwards, Ivan Pavlou himself was able to practice this approach in Turkey when he collaborated in a number of key excavations. Over the past decades, Ivan Pavlou has participated in the developments of new approaches to large-scale excavations, including the use of machine stripping and sampling strategies in order to emphasize broader perspectives over narrow telephone booth excavations. And he has also pioneered the statistical handling of large data sets, ceramic, lithics finds, for an open-ended and sophisticated understanding of early agricultural dynamics. Through his publication, his student and his organizing activities, Ivan Pavlou, together with his colleagues, has led the groundwork for the current European-wide expansion of preventive archaeology, which reconciles the needs of developments of scientific knowledge and of social outreach. His is an outstanding achievement which we gratefully recognize. I call Professor Ivan Pavlou. Professor Pavlou, the floor is yours.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mesdames and Messieurs, I am very honored to be awarded by the European Archaeological Heritage Prize that belongs not only to me, my activities, but also to many colleagues and many friends from other universities and from other places. I'm unable to name all of them. There was from the different universities at home and in neighboring countries, from Frankfurt, Saarbrücken, Heidelberg, Paris, of course, Vienna, and so on, and the people from the German Archaeological Institute. They helped me in Istanbul, Athens, Rome, and Madrid during my short stays there. My thanks belong to the nomination and namely to the all members of the committee. All of the people not named, because I'm not unable to name all of them, and maybe some of them don't remember that they helped me. I belong my sincere thanks. The same gratitude belongs my family and my wife, who helped me in the last 57 years. My curriculum is very short, and my archaeological ideas are very simple. I have entered the field of archaeology about 60 years ago and was focused to the large-scale excavations. Later, about 20 or 30 years, I worked on the processing of the large-scale data processing from the material from the excavations. Today, the aims of archaeology are a little bit different. Except of the cultural heritage, it is the more comprehensive, more explanations, and more public presentations. I hope that we are going to, through this culture managing, to fulfill all the aims of the archaeology. I believe that the monuments heritage, as well as the computer data management, are two complementary archaeological activities which will secure the permanent progress in our scientific aims. I have tried to contribute to these aims a little bit to some of those tasks by my lifelong research and scientific work. Thank you very much. Gracias.
The second awarded is Francisco Javier Sánchez Palencia Ramos from Spain. I read motivation. Francisco Javier Sánchez Palencia Ramos is awarded the European Archaeological Heritage Prize 2018 in recognition of his international expertise in the study of Roman mining activities and industrial landscapes, as notably evidenced at the World Heritage Site as Las Medulas. Of all the ancient civilizations studied by archaeology, the Roman Empire is probably the one whose technological achievements and infrastructure works have left their deepest and longest-lasting marks on the landscape. Professor Francisco Javier Sánchez Palencia Ramos has gained internationally recognized expertise in the study and the reconstruction of a range of Roman mining activities. Moreover, Javier Sanchez Palencia has been able to enrich these perspectives on ancient mining landscapes with a highly successful approach to contemporary heritage landscapes, drawing links between archaeological remains and sustainable socio-economic concerns at local, regional, and international levels. In their quest for precious metals, the Romans undertook massive investments across the ore-bearing regions of the Iberian Peninsula. As Javier Sanchez Palencia and his team were able to demonstrate at the site of Las Medulas in the province of León in northwest Spain, Roman engineers from the time of Augustus onwards deployed a technique called ruina montium by Pliny the Elder, in which large quantities of water was forced into the mountain slope, causing landslides which then exposed and sorted the ore-bearing deposits. Going beyond the ancient textual accounts, Javier Sanchez Palencia and his team drew on a range of archaeological sources, topographical surveys, and geoarchaeological analysis in order to reconstruct precisely these practices and show their spectacular scale. Over 300 kilometers of aqueducts bringing water to exploit dozens of hectares and produce more than 1,500 tons of gold during the 3 centuries of their use. Traces of all these activities are still very visible today, and it is by considering this whole undertaken as a cultural landscape, affecting the physical features of the region, but also the social fabric of the countryside, that Javier Sanchez Palencia, with his scientific and patrimonial expertise, contributed so decisively to the inscription of the site of Las Medulas onto the UNESCO World Heritage List in 1997. The impact of the triumphant Roman Empire on local and regional society systems in the past has also been echoed by Javier Sanchez Palencia's pioneering work in the present. From the onset, he has been concerned with the development of cultural heritage policies in relation to the contemporary landscape, and more specifically with the protection and use of archaeological heritage at Las Medulas and elsewhere, as a resource for the development of rural areas and for strengthening the social and economic fabric of local communities. It is for this combined contribution, the scientific understanding of the past and the heritage management of the present, that Javier Sanchez Palencia is awarded the European Archaeological Heritage Prize 2018 of the European Association of Archaeologists. Professor Palencia.
Mr. President of the European Association of Archaeologists, authorities, dear colleagues and friends, it is a great honor for me, not exempt of a little surprise, to receive the European Archaeologist Heritage Prize. I have always kept in mind the close links that exist between research, valorization, and dissemination. That is why I have also been very concerned about the heritage aspect of my work. I believe that the generation of knowledge to which I have devoted my efforts must also have a clear social scope, and the best way to achieve that is the conversion of that new knowledge into community and lasting resources, that is, sustainable resources. Surely, the investigation and declaration of the gold mine of Las Medulas, like Nicolas has said, and its archaeological area as World Heritage is where I have been able to best develop this professional approach. As a result, it is now regarded as an authentic cultural landscape, a living witness of a historical process of European scale, rather than an example of Roman technology as it was considered earlier. The importance of cultural landscapes have only incipient 30 or 40 years ago, but now are consolidated cultural and heritage assets. They have also become a major economic source. However, both aspects do not always go hand in hand. In order to improve that, one of the key initiatives to ensure that will be that all the social agents and stakeholders feel involved in its management, in particular in the case of local communities, which are sometimes mere spectators. This challenge has to be tackled by European policymakers, taking into account the vast diversity in all scales, historical, cultural, or socioeconomical, of these cultural landscapes. But all archaeologists know very well that such social and patrimonial goals can only be achieved if there is a true interdisciplinary teamwork. And I have been very fortunate in that aspect. I have always counted on the collaboration of a good number of researchers coming mainly from the fields of archaeology, of course, ancient history, geology, and paleobotanical studies. Fortunately, some are no longer with us, like my beloved Maria Dolores Fernandez Pose, Pachula, whose memory I want to remember today. And I have also had an excellent research group called Social Structure and Territory Landscape Archaeology. Almudena Orejas, Inés Sastre, and Bryce Curras are over there. An excellent group integrated in the Institute of History of the Spanish National Research Council, the institution that has provided me the necessary support to develop my work. I therefore consider this European Archaeological Heritage Prize not only as mine, but as a prize for all that team and that institution. In order to conclude, I want to thank the director of the National Archaeological Museum, Dr. Andrés Carretero, for proposing me, and above all, the European Association of Archaeologists for awarding me this prize, which gives me great pride and satisfaction. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias. Moltes gracias.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nicolis, and congratulations to the two winners. We have yet another award, which is the presentation of the 2018 Student Awards. I would now like to ask Mr. Robin Skates, member of the EAA Student Awards Selection Committee, to please join me on the stage to present this award.
Good evening. As chair of the EAA's Student Essay Prize Committee, which comprises not only myself, but also Kate Freeman and Manuel Fernandez-Gutz, I'm particularly proud to make this presentation. But before I do so, I'd like to thank our very generous sponsors, the many publishers who've contributed books to this particular prize, whose stands you'll see as part of the conference presentations. I'd also particularly like to thank our many students who submitted papers for consideration. Without you, our European archaeology would not have a future. So this year, to cut to the chase, we chose one winner. She's a PhD student from the University of Helsinki. Her name is Hanna Kivikero, and the title of her paper is Accessing Waterbirds, a Perspective into Zooarchaeological Assemblages and Tax Records in Castles, Kastelholm and Raseborg in the northern Baltic Sea. So what I'll do now is read our brief commendation, which is as follows. This paper explores the economic role and value of waterbirds in the economy of the castles at Kastelholm and at Raseborg in the northern Baltic Sea area. The study is based on a comparison of written castle tax accounts from the mid-16th century and zooarchaeological assemblages recovered at the two sites. Waterbirds appear to have been seasonal foodstuffs obtained mainly for high-status consumption. The two castles had different economic interests in and ways to obtain waterbirds, which is evident in the species representation of the zooarchaeological record. At Raseborg, waterbirds seem only to have been consumed in the castle. From Kastelholm, waterbirds were also transported to the castle of Stockholm, the king's residence, and could therefore have had a wider market value. This paper then represents a very good piece of research which carefully combines zooarchaeological analysis with documentary data. The two castles are successfully compared and contrasted. The zooarchaeological data are presented well, and the paper as a whole is well organized, beginning with an excellent abstract. So we congratulate Hanna Kivikero and look forward to the presentation and publication of her paper. At this point, I have no idea if Hanna is amongst us because I know that her plane was delayed. So if she is here, this is your moment to join me on the stage. If not, we congratulate you. Hey. Brilliant. Well done. You made it. Congratulations. This is very good. Well done. Excellent. Well done.
Thank you very much, Mr. Skeets, and congratulations to our winner. Once again, it is my pleasure to present the outstanding performers we heard before. This time they will be playing a piece entitled La Catedral, the Cathedral, by Agustín Barrios. Ladies and gentlemen, Amaya Miranda and Sandra Monfort. Thank you so much, Sandra Monfort and Amaya Miranda, for this beautiful music. I would now like to once again call on Madam Margarita Díaz-Andreu to introduce the keynote speakers of this session. Ms. Díaz-Andreu.
I will be brief because I know that we are behind schedule. But I am very glad to introduce you today to our two speakers of this open ceremony. The first of them will be Sonia Gutiérrez from the University of Alicante, Universitat d'Alacant. She is one of the international experts on medieval and particularly Islamic archaeology. And the idea behind her selection was to look also into the past, the way in which our societies are not only multicultural today, but they were also multicultural in the past. So she will be talking about Islamic archaeology, her research on Islamic archaeology. Her talk will then be followed by that of Professor Francisco Gracia. Francisco Gracia has been one of the most prolific authors on not only on proto-history, but also on the history of archaeology, and he has published extensively on the protection and salvage of archaeology, of cultural heritage in times of conflict, in times of war. But he is here today as a representative of what we could call perhaps the third generation of the Catalan School of Archaeology. Thank you very much to both of them, and with no more, I would like to call Sonia here, Professor Gutiérrez, to the stand. Thank you.
Oh, sorry. Good evening. I would like to thank the organizer for inviting me to this meeting. It's a real pleasure to be part in this event about the plural nature of European archaeology. I will read my speech in Spanish and Catalan. Reflexionar sobre las expectativas y el devenir de la arqueología medieval y la singularidad del al-Andalus como sujeto histórico en el panorama actual es un compromiso ineludible. No se trata tanto de una aproximación historiográfica a la disciplina, cuanto de un análisis crítico de los problemas, las perspectivas y estrategias investigadoras, las tendencias conceptuales, el dinamismo o la introspección, las relaciones con las otras arqueologías o la irrupción de la arqueología profesional. Interesa, en suma, discutir el papel de esta arqueología en la construcción del imaginario europeo y su relación, en absoluto inocente, con la situación actual, abriendo una reflexión colectiva sobre la investigación histórico-arqueológica del medievo mediterráneo y europeo. La conquista Arabo-Berber del año 711 o Arabo-Islámica, según se analice desde la perspectiva de las poblaciones o de la lengua y la religión, tuvo como consecuencia la formación de una sociedad islámica en Occidente, que pasó a llamarse al-Andalus. Referente geográfico complejo, al-Andalus no debe ser confundido con la actual Andalucía. Designa los territorios ibéricos integrados en la Dar al-Islam durante el medievo e incluye en su fase más temprana el sur de Francia. Sus límites territoriales varían y se reducen entre los siglos VIII y XV, mientras sus implicaciones sociales alcanzan el siglo XVI con la expulsión de los moriscos, musulmanos forzados a convertirse en el siglo XVI. La cuestión que nos ocupa puede ser planteada a varios niveles: historiográfico, metodológico, social y conceptual. Desde la perspectiva historiográfica, la arqueología es joven respecto a las disciplinas arqueológicas tradicionales, en especial a la prehistoria y la arqueología clásica. Su desarrollo es muy reciente, incluso en relación a Europa, donde aparece a mediados del siglo XX. En la península ibérica se inicia hace apenas 4 décadas, mientras que su reconocimiento académico es aún más reciente. Por supuesto, el interés por los vestigios islámicos medievales es anterior y se remonta al siglo XIX, pero aquellos planteamientos estaban muy lejos de lo que hoy se entiende por arqueología medieval. Eran parte de los movimientos orientalistas que influyeron en la creación de una imagen exótica de España en las artes de la época. En la caracterización de la arqueología islámica del siglo XX confluyeron varias perspectivas: la historia del arte, la restauración arquitectónica y el arabismo. Las primeras aproximaciones se hicieron desde una visión continuista y esencialista de lo español, en la que era frecuente hablar de la España islámica y de lo hispano-musulmán, conceptos historiográficos hoy totalmente superados. A finales de los años 70 se produjo un cambio de paradigma historiográfico muy influido por Francia e Italia. En el caso francés destaca la actividad de la Casa de Velázquez, el impacto de la tesis de Pierre Guichard sobre al-Andalus desde una perspectiva estructuralista y sus trabajos con André Bazanat y Patrick Cressier sobre fortificaciones y espacios agrarios. La idea de al-Andalus como una sociedad islámica y oriental rompió la imagen continuista, al tiempo que la introducción de la arqueología extensiva abrió nuevas perspectivas en el estudio del poblamiento rural. Poco más tarde, la influencia italiana de orientación marxista redimensionó el estudio de la cultura material, el poblamiento y el territorio medieval, que se reflejó en coloquios y publicaciones. A diferencia de la prehistoria, mucho más receptiva a las corrientes procesuales y postprocesuales de inspiración antropológica, la arqueología medieval ibérica se vinculó tempranamente a la historia, con una parte fundamental y una parte específica del análisis de las sociedades medievales, con influencia de la escuela de los anales, el estructuralismo y el marxismo. Surgió una imagen renovada, la de una sociedad cuya estructura marcadamente orientalizada dejó en su entorno una profunda histórica y impronta. En paralelo, se consolidó la arqueología medieval como disciplina, primero al margen de la universidad, en los museos. Los nuevos marcos legales sobre patrimonio desarrollados en los años 80 y 90 del pasado siglo, a raíz de la transferencia de competencias a las comunidades autónomas, provocaron un aumento considerable de las intervenciones arqueológicas, principalmente medievales. La investigación dejó de desarrollarse exclusivamente en las universidades y en los centros de investigación, apareciendo nuevos actores sociales, gestores autonómicos, técnicos municipales y profesionales independientes. En este periodo se produjo también una importante renovación metodológica en la disciplina: excavaciones en área abierta, Harris Matrix, GIS, arqueometría, bioarqueología, y se introdujeron nuevas perspectivas como la arqueología de la arquitectura, que discutieron los modelos historiográficos monumentalistas del siglo XIX. Los propios conceptos de arte visigodo, islámico, mozárabe, mudéjar o prerrománico hubieron de revisarse. Los programas urbanísticos y decorativos del califato omeya, por ejemplo, se explican ahora como el original reflejo de una nueva sociedad triunfante, la islámica, en posiciones teóricas muy alejadas del continuismo español. Las consecuencias sociales también son evidentes. En pocos años se ha pasado de una arqueología andalusí positivista, exótica y monumentalista a una arqueología moderna interesada en los procesos y los contextos antes que en los objetos, una arqueología en constante dialéctica con los grandes temas históricos. Nunca antes se habían excavado y documentado tantos ni tan variados registros de época andalusí como en la primera década del siglo XXI, pero el volumen de información histórica no parece haber experimentado un crecimiento exponencial paralelo al de las intervenciones. La crisis actual y la falta de mecanismos para potenciar la investigación y la divulgación dibujan todavía zonas oscuras. Desde una perspectiva conceptual, la arqueología medieval ibérica fue fundamentalmente islámica, hasta el punto de que arqueología medieval y arqueología de al-Andalus fueron sinónimos en la práctica durante décadas. El primer Congreso de Arqueología Medieval Española, en rigor ibérica, por integrar plenamente a Portugal desde el principio, celebrado en 1985, marca la aparición de una disciplina inédita en un medio académico dominado hasta entonces por la arqueología clásica, el medievalismo latino y bajo medieval y el arabismo filológico. En este contexto, la arqueología de al-Andalus se convirtió en un motor de renovación de los estudios medievales, desbancando rápidamente los intereses tradicionales, en especial los castillos y las necrópolis visigodas, con marcada influencia alemana durante la dictadura franquista. La arqueología andalusí experimentó un desarrollo espectacular, tanto en los protocolos metodológicos como en el diseño de estrategias de investigación. No obstante, la sociedad de al-Andalus planteaba problemas históricos muy diferentes a los del resto de la Europa medieval, preocupada por el origen de las redes de aldeas campesinas, el proceso de encastelamento o la formación del feudalismo. La hegemonía de lo privado sobre lo público, el predominio de lo urbano, la relación entre el hecho tribal y el Estado, la complejidad productiva y comercial centraron la investigación arqueológica sobre al-Andalus. El progreso alcanzó todos los ámbitos. La cerámica se convirtió en un preciso indicador cronológico. La numismática y los primeros trabajos de circulación monetaria permitieron la caracterización fiscal del Estado omeya. La arquitectura, la decoración plástica y la epigrafía fueron estudiadas en términos sociales e ideológicos. El territorio y las comunidades campesinas se convirtieron en sujetos históricos. Temáticas hasta entonces invisibles, como el significado social de las fortificaciones, el poblamiento rural y los espacios agrícolas, pasaron a ocupar un lugar central. La arqueología urbana también permitió intuir la magnitud del urbanismo andalusí en relación a la Europa feudal, siendo uno de los ejemplos más espectaculares la doble capital del califato omeya de al-Andalus, que tras la fundación de Madinat al-Zahra por Abderramán III, convirtió Córdoba en una conurbación sin parangón con el urbanismo europeo contemporáneo e incluso con el precedente romano. Se desarrollaron grandes proyectos sistemáticos en yacimientos arqueológicos emblemáticos. Las revistas, los libros, los congresos y las exposiciones se multiplicaron. Al-Andalus se convirtió en una marca de moda, gracias al esfuerzo colectivo que simboliza esta imagen y este homenaje. Entre los temas de discusión más significativos de los últimos años destacan la transformación de la ciudad preexistente y la organización del territorio altomedieval, la posibilidad de leer el cambio cultural en la cultura material, el espacio social o el paisaje, el reconocimiento material de la conquista y de sus protagonistas, el califato omeya de Córdoba como expresión material del triunfo de la sociedad islámica, las formas de organización del paisaje rural, fortificaciones, caria y sistemas de regadío que forman los distritos castrales, las lecturas sociales de los entornos construidos y de los espacios domésticos, la casa, la familia y el género, visibilizando a las mujeres en el proceso histórico, la cultura material como reflejo de una sociedad compleja, la ideología, la imagen y la escritura al servicio del poder y, por fin, el impacto de la conquista feudal sobre los espacios productivos. Pero el interés por el patrimonio material y cultural de al-Andalus y el consecuente desarrollo científico no fue casual. Debe analizarse en el contexto de cambio social y político tras una larga dictadura nacional católica. La consolidación de un Estado de las autonomías y la reivindicación de valores democráticos como la multiculturalidad y la tolerancia, incluido el mito historiográfico de las tres culturas, unidos a la necesidad de construir explicaciones históricas alternativas a la identidad nacional de la España centralista, explican un creciente interés por el pasado islámico, que fue utilizado con desigual intensidad y fortuna en la construcción de los relatos nacionales alternativos, en especial en Andalucía, Murcia y Castilla-La Mancha, pero también en Portugal y Extremadura y en Valencia, Baleares, Aragón y Cataluña, que reivindicaban respectivamente el Garb al-Andalus, el occidente de al-Andalus, o el Sharq al-Andalus, el oriente, como parte de su pasado. La descentralización administrativa y la arqueología preventiva descubrieron numerosos vestigios materiales andalusíes, proliferaron museos y parques arqueológicos y en la práctica se produjo un cierto abandono de los temas visigodos en beneficio de al-Andalus. En los últimos años se observa, sin embargo, una tendencia contraria. Parece haberse iniciado un nuevo ciclo en la arqueología medieval ibérica cada vez más europeizante y feudal, muy acorde con las tendencias de la arqueología medieval europea. Es necesario analizar a qué se debe este cambio de paradigma. Es indudable que el relevo generacional puede tener algo que ver con el estancamiento de la arqueología andalusí, pero la explicación no es tan simple ni quizá tan inocente. La construcción europea apoyó importantes proyectos identitarios donde temas como la etnogénesis, los bárbaros y el imperio carolingio tuvieron un papel central en los nuevos relatos históricos, frente a las otras realidades europeas percibidas como periféricas o marginales. Las aportaciones de la arqueología islámica, tan importantes hasta entonces, se minimizan ahora o se diluyen en una perspectiva que considera al-Andalus, de nuevo, una anécdota exótica en la historia europea. Las consecuencias empiezan lamentablemente a percibirse. Los jóvenes investigadores desplazan su atención a temas no islámicos, preferentemente altomedievales, mientras que en el ámbito internacional solo se citan trabajos en inglés que no siempre reflejan el conocimiento actual, tergiversando e ignorando directamente la investigación arqueológica divulgada en otras lenguas, peninsulares, europeas y mediterráneas. Se corre el riesgo de construir una zona de confort arqueológico que soslaye un presente políticamente complejo e incómodo, pero que resulta claramente tendenciosa desde una perspectiva historiográfica. En conclusió, la idea de al-Andalus com una societat islàmica i oriental va trencar la imatge continuista, plantejant problemes històrics molt diferents als de la resta de l'Europa medieval. La seva arqueologia va obrir insospetades perspectives metodològiques i al-Andalus es va convertir en una marca de moda. L'inici del segle XXI va marcar el màxim interès per a l'Andalus com a objecte històric contemporani, però el relat historiogràfic actual ignora els territoris europeus que van formar part de l'edat de l'Islam durant l'edat mitjana. No obstant això, al-Andalus va ser una de les societats més poderoses i complexes sorgides a l'Occident europeu des de la fi de l'Imperi Romà, i el coneixement de la seva materialitat té un paper crucial en la construcció serena, racional i crítica de la història europea, aportant el rigor d'una necessària perspectiva no eurocèntrica. No ho oblidem. Moltes gràcies. Thank you very much for your attention.
Gracias, profesora Gutiérrez. Y ahora el profesor Francisco Gracia.
Bona tarda a tothom. Ens trobem amb el cor de Barcelona. Al costat, en el fossar de les Moreres, van ser enterrats els cossos d'una part dels defensors de la ciutat durant el setge del 1714. I tan sols a uns centenars de metres, el Born, Centre de Cultura i Memòria, exemplifica la importància de la conservació i difusió del passat dels nuclis urbans amb independència de les seves implicacions polítiques, però és també un record viu del nostre passat històric, social i polític. Són exemples molt clars d'una ciència viva i actual com l'arqueologia que ens permet explicar el passat a partir de les dades empíriques, superant l'estadi de la història oral o textual inexorablement subjectiva. Grups d'afeccionats i erudits iniciaren les primeres intervencions arqueològiques a Catalunya a la segona meitat del segle XIX, organitzant-se al voltant d'entitats de lleure, com ara el Centre Excursionista de Catalunya, o científiques, com la Reial Societat Arqueològica Tarraconense, sense oblidar la tasca realitzada pels membres de la Reial Acadèmia de Bones Lletres que contribuïren a salvar una part del patrimoni històric i arqueològic de Barcelona arran de les revoltes del 1835 i a la creació del Museu Arqueològic Provincial el 1867. Els moviments polítics i culturals de la Renaixença i el Noucentisme van utilitzar el passat històric i les seves expressions artístiques com un element essencial per enfortir el sentiment nacional català, base indispensable de les reclamacions polítiques i econòmiques que els polítics catalanistes realitzaren al govern de l'Estat després de la crisi del 1898 i al llarg de les primeres dècades del segle XX. Enric Prat de la Riba, emprant el text fundacional del catalanisme modern, la nacionalitat catalana del 1905, la cultura ibèrica, el món clàssic i en especial l'hora marítima de Vier, per definir un origen diferenciat de Catalunya respecte a Espanya, vinculant-lo a la Mediterrània i a la colonització grega. Per demostrar aquesta tesi, un cop fundat l'any 1907 l'Institut d'Estudis Catalans, Prat, amb el suport de Josep Puig i Cadafalch, aconseguí que l'Institut i la Junta de Museus de Barcelona iniciessin les excavacions de la colònia grega d'Empúries l'any 1908 per demostrar, mitjançant l'arqueologia, la validesa del discurs històric nacionalista. El descobriment de la muralla hel·lenística i especialment de l'estàtua del déu Asclepi va servir a la primavera del 1936 per la suspensió de l'autogovern català arran del fest d'octubre del 1934. S'aprovaran aleshores el Registre del Patrimoni de la Generalitat i el Servei de Patrimoni, així com la protecció legal de més d'un centenar de jaciments arqueològics i el seu entorn com a reserva d'estudi. L'esclat de la Guerra Civil, arran de la sublevació militar de juliol del 1936, suposà una dura prova per la protecció del patrimoni històric i arqueològic. La Generalitat de Catalunya desenvolupà un extens programa d'evacuació de les col·leccions museogràfiques i el seu trasllat a dipòsits protegits fora de les grans ciutats, definint un model adoptat posteriorment a França a principi de la Segona Guerra Mundial. Al llarg de la guerra es reformaran les estructures de recerca i difusió, creant-se el 1938 el Servei d'Excavacions i Arqueologia de la Generalitat de Catalunya, una estructura moderna dirigida per Bosch i Pere que serà suprimida amb la desfeta de la causa republicana a principis del 1939. La victòria franquista a la Guerra Civil suposarà un canvi radical en l'arqueologia catalana. Exiliat Bosch i desmantellada l'Escola Catalana d'Arqueologia, el patrimoni deixarà de ser considerat com un tret distintiu de la cultura catalana per diluir-se dins del concepte unificador imposat per la ideologia feixista. El govern de Franco organitzà una nova estructura administrativa, la Comissaria General d'Excavacions Arqueològiques, dirigides pel falangista Julio Martínez Santolaya, que controlava la recerca entre els anys 39 i 56. A Barcelona, Bosch va ser substituït al Museu, la Universitat i el Servei d'Excavacions, depenent de nou de la Diputació Provincial de Barcelona, per Martín Almagro Basc, un deixeble d'Obermeier, amb bones connexions amb el nou govern. Almagro reestructurà la recerca i, sense renunciar a les seves conviccions polítiques, sabrà treure partit dels recursos disponibles, reprenent i potenciant excavacions a Empúries i reorganitzant les instal·lacions del Museu Arqueològic. Enfrontat a Martínez Santolaya, aconseguirà, un cop finalitzada la Segona Guerra Mundial i amb l'ajut de Pericot, refer les relacions internacionals, especialment amb Itàlia, França i Alemanya, vinculant-se amb l'Institut d'Estudis Ligurs i creant el 1947 els cursos internacionals d'arqueologia d'Empúries, en els que prendran part un gran nombre d'investigadors estrangers, com ara Nino Lamboya o Christopher Hughes. El sistema de la Comissaria d'Excavacions Arqueològiques funcionarà a Catalunya de forma més independent que a la resta de l'Estat degut a la influència de Pericot, el nou home fort de la recerca arqueològica acadèmica a Espanya per la seva estreta relació amb el marquès de Lozoya, director general de Belles Arts, i per la projecció internacional que assolirà en la seva triple condició d'americanista, africanista i europeista, arribant a ser el president del quart Congrés Internacional de Ciències Prehistòriques i Protohistòriques, celebrat a Madrid el 1954, al temps que representarà el nexe d'unió entre els arqueòlegs espanyols i l'exiliat Bosch i Pere, director de Filosofia i Ciències Humanes de la UNESCO, amb seu a París entre el 1948 i el 1952, i figura de referència tant de l'arqueologia llatinoamericana com a dels CIPS i la UISPP. Un cop traslladat Almagro Basc a Madrid com a catedràtic l'any 1955 i la seva renúncia a la direcció del Museu i les excavacions a Empúries l'any 62, es produí un canvi en l'estructura de la recerca arqueològica amb la progressiva assumpció per noves generacions d'investigadors, entre els que es compten Miquel Tarradell, Joan Maluquer de Motes, Pere de Palol, Eduard Ripoll i Antoni Arribas, de la idea de pertinença a l'Escola de Barcelona, vinculant-se amb el llegat de Bosch i Pere a través de Pericot. L'anomenada rebel·lió dels catedràtics, mitjançant una carta de protesta contra Martínez Santolaya el 1955, signada pels principals catedràtics de prehistòria i arqueologia de les universitats espanyoles, suposarà la caiguda de Martínez Santolaya i la creació d'un nou organisme, el Servei Nacional d'Excavacions, dividit en delegacions de zona corresponents amb els districtes universitaris, encapçalats cadascun per un catedràtic de prehistòria o arqueologia. Però el model fracassarà per la manca de mitjans materials i el personalisme de molts investigadors, incapaços d'articular equips de recerca amples i pluridisciplinars, i l'arqueologia espanyola, al igual que la catalana, quedarà esmorteïda al llarg de 2 dècades entre el 1955 i el 1975, precisament en el moment en què s'estava produint la regeneració teòrica i metodològica de la recerca, que donarà lloc al moviment de la nova arqueologia i les seves derivades posteriors. Amb la fi teòrica de la dictadura de Franco al 1975 i el començament de l'anomenada transició democràtica, els canvis polítics influiran en la renovació teòrica i metodològica a Catalunya. Les reunions de l'Assemblea d'Arqueologia i les propostes del grup de reflexió Marc VII fracassaran en els seus intents regeneradors enfront de plantejaments menys rupturistes. Però a la universitat, a mitjans de la dècada del 1980, començaran a formar-se potents equips de recerca en projecció internacional, Es crearà el Servei d'Arqueologia de la recuperada Generalitat de Catalunya. Es desenvoluparan projectes professionalitzadors com còdecs vinculats amb l'arqueologia preventiva i d'urgència, base de la posterior estructuració de diverses empreses privades que establiren un model d'èxit. Es desenvoluparan polítiques patrimonials d'intervenció i de recerca programades. Es consolidarà el Museu d'Arqueologia de Catalunya amb les seves seus de Barcelona, Girona, Olèrdola, Ullastret i Empúries, a més del Centre d'Activitats Subaquàtiques de Catalunya, pioner en l'arqueologia submarina a l'estat espanyol. Es crearan programes d'èxit en la difusió de la recerca i el món antic, com ara la Ruta dels Cibers o el Festival Tarraco Viva. Es crearan els instituts de recerca nacionals dependents de la Generalitat, com ara l'Institut Català d'Arqueologia Clàssica, l'ICAC, l'Institut Català de Recerca en Patrimoni Cultural, l'ICRPC, o l'Institut de Paleoecologia Humana i Evolució Social, l'IPEX, a més de la revitalització dels museus comarcals i locals, un esforç que ha suposat un impressionant avanç en el desenvolupament de la recerca arqueològica a Catalunya. Tot i les dificultats, la docència i la recerca arqueològica a Catalunya s'han consolidat com un dels camps d'estudi amb més prestigi acadèmic i projecció internacional, amb projectes de recerca en tots els continents. El recorregut en els 102 anys transcorreguts des que Bosch Impera va accedir a la càtedra de la Universitat de Barcelona no ha estat fàcil. A l'haver tingut que sobreviure a dues dictadures, una guerra civil i una permanent pressió uniformitzadora de la síntesi i el discurs historiogràfic fins al present, però en l'actualitat, amb universitats en les que la valoració de la docència de l'arqueologia puja any rere any posicions en els rànquings internacionals, instituts i grups de recerca pluridisciplinars que compten amb un ampli reconeixement. Tenim la possibilitat de bastir un excel·lent futur al mateix temps que honorem els esforços d'un passat que ens ha conduït fins aquí. La feina que hem realitzat i realitzem, estructurant i retornant a la societat el coneixement generat, ens permet ser exigents, en primer lloc amb nosaltres mateixos per millorar cada dia la feina que realitzem, però també amb les institucions. I és per això que en un acte com aquest no podem deixar de mostrar el nostre astorament pel fet que la Universitat de Barcelona suprimís fa 3 anys el seu Departament de Prehistòria i Arqueologia, essent la primera universitat de l'Estat en aquest camp i 33a del món, per diluir-lo en un de genèric d'Història i Arqueologia, i que aquesta inconcebible decisió no hagi estat encara revertida quan és del tot evident que necessitem aquesta eina per potenciar la docència i la recerca. I hem de reclamar, per exemple, una major sensibilitat amb el passat a l'Ajuntament de Barcelona i que, per exemple, el jaciment del Born torni a explicar els fets del 1714 a partir de la recerca arqueològica i no sigui només un contenidor per a activitats diverses amb ruïnes visitables i que doni més visibilitat al carrer encara al nostre patrimoni històric i arqueològic en una ciutat com la nostra que desborda història. I, per últim, hem de reclamar a la Generalitat de Catalunya que augmenti els recursos destinats a la recerca arqueològica, en aquests moments no només una ciència generadora de coneixement, sinó també un motor econòmic de molts territoris per la valoració del patrimoni. Uns recursos que han de tenir a la universitat bressol indiscutible del futur del país com a principal destinatària. Finalitzem donant la paraula a en Bosch Impera, que el 1933 afirmà: l'arqueologia depassa les limitacions de la historiografia local i porta al terreny de la realitat les síntesis generals fruit d'una improvisació prematura o d'un prejudici filosòfic o patriòtic i redueix els seus veritables límits, a les grans figures històriques, valorant l'aportació humil a la cultura i l'esforç anònim de la massa. L'arqueologia ens permet aprendre el que va ser la vida en tots els seus aspectes. Només ella permet seguir la seva evolució definitiva. Les dades històriques i les tradicions erren. La llengua és insuficient. Moltes gràcies. Benvinguts a Barcelona.
Thank you, Professor Gracia. Ladies and gentlemen, in just a few moments, we will hear the final intervention, a piece that will be played on the organ of this church by Mr. Neil Cowley. Now, when we conclude, however, I invite you to follow the sound of the gralles, playing their grallas, a very distinctive sounding wind instrument that is part of the Catalan history and culture, and today can be heard wherever Castellers are gathered to build the human towers that they are known for world over. When the song finishes from the organ and you hear that sound, I would invite you to leave the building, to leave the church through the side door or the back door and follow that sound, that music, which will take us just 100 meters away to the Born, where we will be able to watch the human towers being built, enjoy a glass of sparkling cava wine, and see what Barcelona looked like at the end of the 17th and 18th century. So, ladies and gentlemen, now we will hear Batalla del Sexto Tono by José Jiménez, played by Mr. Neil Cowley. Mr. Neil Cowley. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we finished this part of the evening. Once again, I invite you to leave the back door, the side door, walking that way, following the sound of the gralles, who are the musicians. We might hear them any second now, but you'll see them. Follow them straight over to El Born. There they are. Thank you very much, and enjoy your stay, and have a good conference. Thank you.